Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. We got some more 2A news for you. Some quick housekeeping. All right, some folks were telling me that the audio was kind of crappy with my old mic. I did upgrade to a new microphone. This is a Blue Yeti X. So let me know how you like the audio. And for some of these 2A updates, I am going to do these from my office. It just makes things a little bit easier for me, not having to set everything up in the studio downstairs. So anyway, I hope you like this format. We're going to get into today's article. It is from Mr. John Crump at AmmoLand. I'm going to provide some input on this. And it has to do with Hunter Biden's legal team citing the Second Amendment as a very reason for the, potentially dropping these gun charges. Like, how Hunter Biden caught this gun charge and everything like that. Now, there's a lot of other things that he's dealing with right now. The gun charge is just one of them, but it just goes to show the utter hypocrisy that these folks, they just know no bounds when it comes to this sort of stuff. Before we get started, I would like to thank our friends at CMMG for supporting today's video. We have a lot of awesome stuff with them that we've been doing. They have some amazing stuff in the AR category. Their bufferless descent line is amazing, including their new Mark 47, now in the descent line with a folding stock and a forward non-reciprocating charging handle. They got some awesome 22 conversion kits. You guys know many of their hybrid systems, such as the Anvil and what we affectionately call the Mutant, also known as the Mark 47. Really, really awesome people. They got some great stuff. Check them out, CMMG, and a big thanks to them for supporting our efforts here on the channel. All right, we're going to get into this. Hunter Biden's legal teams claim the Second Amendment and gun control case, or gun case. Mr. John Crump, my man John Crump, good folks over at AmmoLand. Good folks over there. Hunter Biden's legal team is asking a judge to dismiss the gun charges against him by claiming that the Second Amendment protects their client. Oh boy. Biden was charged with lying on a Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Form 4473 while purchasing a gun from a Delaware gun shop. The son of President Joe Biden stated on a Form 4473 that he was not a user of illicit drugs. Around the same time the younger Biden was buying his firearm, he was addicted to crack cocaine. Lying on the 4473 is a felony. Biden doesn't claim he is innocent. His attorney claims that the prohibition of gun ownership by drug addicts is inconsistent with the historical tradition of firearms regulations. Because persons protected by the Second Amendment can no longer be denied gun ownership due simply to past drug use, a practice inconsistent with the nation's historical tradition on firearms regulation, any false statement by Mr. Biden concerning his status as having used a controlled substance no longer concerns any face material to the lawfulness of the sale of a firearm. 18 U.S. Code 922A, subsection 6, yada, yada, Biden's attorney wrote. Quite simply, asking about Mr. Biden's status as a user of a controlled status is constitutionally irrelevant to whether he can be denied his Second Amendment right to gun ownership. Wow, that's a doozy right there. We weren't expecting that, were we? After the Supreme Court's opinion in New York Pistol Rifle Associations versus Bruin, the government could no longer use interest balancing to determine the constitutionality of a gun law. The government could only use the original text, tradition, and history of the Second Amendment from the founding era. And yes, boys and girls, that means 1791, all the way back to 1791. In truth, the statute is indefensible under the Bruin framework. Biden's lawyer wrote, Daniels recognized that the framers were well aware of the problems caused by intoxication, but there is no historical precedent for prohibiting gun ownership by persons who had any history of ingesting intoxicating substances. Rather, the problems associated with intoxication were addressed by prohibiting certain conduct while intoxicated. President Joe Biden was unhappy with the result of the Bruin decision, but the senior citizen in the White House has not commented on his son's defense, using the ruling that the Biden administration saw as a travesty. The lack of comments make many ask if there is a double standard in the Biden family. Biden's lawyer also cited the United States versus Rahimi case, which was recently argued in front of the Supreme Court. The case deals with a Texas man named Zaki Rahimi, who was caught with a firearm while being the subject of a domestic violence restraining order. The Fifth Circuit of Appeals ruled that the Constitution did not allow Mr. Rahimi to be charged with carrying a gun while under a protective order. Given the lack of any historical precedent for disarming civilians based on their status of having used a controlled substance, the fact that Section 922G, subsection 3, violates the Second Amendment is inevitable under the Bruen framework, the lawyers wrote. As the Fifth Circuit explained, prior to Bruen, courts would have addressed the issue of whether any defined class of people could be disarmed by examining whether that class of persons is sufficiently dangerous to justify disarming them. But Bruen forswears that kind of review, the Fifth Circuit explained. Bruen heads that analysis off at the pass. While Congress could criminalize gun possession from someone who was actively intoxicated, or perhaps someone who has at least actively had a controlled substance in their body, a prohibition on gun ownership by anyone who has had at some time used a controlled substance is constitutionally overbroad under Bruen. Interesting. The Justice Department was unhappy with the appeals court decision. Under pressure from Hunter Biden's father, President Joe Biden, the DOJ filed for a writ of certiorari. I can never say that word quite right. Some of you lawyer types are gonna pick on me. That's okay. The White House encouraged the Supreme Court to take up the case. The Biden administration strongly disagreed with the Fifth Circuit's decision, which makes it ironic that the younger Biden's freedom might rest with the Rahimi case. Of course, while many on the pro-gun side of the gun debate are rooting against Hunter Biden, others see this issue as one that exceeds their dislikes for the Biden clan. They see this as a battle over an unconstitutional question on an unconstitutional forum. They believe that Hunter Biden case can also highlight how hypocritical the elites in Washington, D.C. are when it comes to their own members. Whether this case is dismissed will be up to the judge, but there's no timeline for the judge to rule. Oh, the sweet, sweet, sweet smell of irony. That is what we call poetic justice, poetic irony in every way, shape, or form, boys and girls. That is what I'm talking about. Now, look, my opinion on this matter might ruffle some feathers. Like some of y'all might be mad at me what I'm about to say. Okay, that's fine. You can be mad all you want, but this is my view of the matter. Hunter Biden has a right to smoke crack if he wants to smoke crack. Okay, look, I don't like it. I think it's absolutely degenerate behavior that is unbefitting of someone who's supposed to be the son of a president. Okay, fine, right? I don't have to agree with the behavior. I don't have to agree with the way someone acts when they're under these substances. I don't have to agree with, anything related to the use of that substance. But again, the constitutionalist in me, I have to look at this in black and white, right? And he has the right to do that. He has a right to own a firearm. And if there's nothing in the historical texts and traditions of the Second Amendment as it existed in 1791 that prevents a person from owning a firearm simply because they are a user of a given substance, an intoxicating substance, then guess what? The law is the law. And I believe the law should be fairly applied to everyone, even people that I disagree with. Do I want Hunter Biden thrown in jail? Absolutely. I think he's a degenerate. And their family have done a lot of terrible things that deserves, the utmost scrutiny. Of course, I believe that. However, it is what it is. And as a staunch Second Amendment supporter and as a staunch libertarian in my mindset, I'd say lowercase L, boys and girls. I mean, I still share a lot of conservative, far right Republican values and things like that. But I am more libertarian leaning, let's just say lowercase L. But in my, kind of libertarian mindset, I view it as, getting into constitutionally murky waters when it comes to, okay, if you were to throw the book at Hunter Biden, what is that going to say about any other person who's ever found to be in possession of a gun who's used some sort of illicit substance? I mean, if they're going to throw the book at a prince, essentially, right? Like, I mean, let's just view him as a prince of a king, because that's how the Biden families view themselves, as kings, right? So if they're going to throw the book at a prince, what do you think they're going to do to the average person who is just trying to, find their way throughout the world? They're going to throw the book at an average person. So it's almost better that it happened to someone like Hunter Biden, because then at least it sets forth a pretty distinctive precedence moving forward. Now, look, his lawyers were correct to come to the conclusion that they came to in terms of their arguments against the gun charge. So I have to give them props there, but it just goes to show the hypocrisy, because they will find every little tiny loophole that they possibly can. And when I say they, I mean the anti-gunners in general will try to doctor the facts, doctor the data. They'll try to cherry pick statistics. They'll try to cherry pick little subsections within the law without looking at the whole law in its entire context, in order to try to dismantle an argument for the pro-gun side of a given argument on that side of the equation of an argument, right? So they will always use that masterful wordsmithing that they so eloquently used, that his lawyer so eloquently used in this particular case against gun owners. But then, oh, when it's your back against the wall, oh, well, no, the Constitution, the Second Amendment, oh, it's all about my rights at that point. Oh, Bruen, let's cite Bruen. Let's cite the other case. I mean, so it just goes to show, right? Just like when we look at Ukraine and when the Russians were trying to take Kyiv, right? Always go back to this, right? You know, Ukraine did not exactly have the most like open, gun ownership, right, amongst their citizenry, just like Israel didn't. But you watch, right? The Russians tried to attack Ukraine. Hamas attacked Israel. What did they start doing? They started handing out guns. They started, conscripting people. They started giving Molotov cocktails to grannies in the streets to fight the Russians. When they think that their life is in danger, their physical life or their freedom or anything like that, if they think that they're in danger in some form or fashion, they are going to throw all of their political whims and wishes out the window, and they're going to look at the black and white of the law and go, oh my gosh, what in the world can I do to free myself of this tyranny that's being exacted towards me? So it's okay when the tyranny swings towards you, but the minute that it hurts one of their own, oh, they're gonna come up with every little tiny factoid that they can to justify why the case should get thrown out. It's things like this just really demonstrate the clear hypocrisy. These people, they know no bounds when it comes to the amount of hypocrisy they're willing to put forth. And that's what's so terrible. We clearly have a two-tier justice system. And again, I've said it in many, many videos before. I've complained about it. Look, we can talk until we're blue in the face, but the truth of the matter is that, we are living under a two-tier justice system. And, I think people are really getting fed up with it. And gun ownership appeals to so many people from so many different walks of life, because it is the teeth that give all of our other rights teeth and staying power rights. What is the point of having a set of rights at your disposal, a set of rights that are codified, a set of rights that you can go to the government and say, these are things that you should not mess with. These are things you should stay away from. The Second Amendment is there to tell the government, hey, you are not to mess with this. You are to stay away for this very specific reason. What is the point of having all these rights codified into law and having an entire law system that is structured around trying to protect and codify those rights even further by passing more laws that are in step with the Constitution, if you don't have a way to actually protect the meaning behind it all? And gun ownership is the entire end-all, do-all when it comes to the way this entire country operates. And that's why they're constantly trying to dismantle the Second Amendment, to dismantle civilian gun ownership, because they know dang well in the long term that that's how they're going to win. They know they can't do anything against us while we have the ability to fight back, while we have the ability to, stand back against tyranny, right? They want to take guns because they know dang well they're going to do something to you that makes you want to use your guns against them. They are doing it for their own self-preservation. Absolutely nothing to do with your own self-preservation. They're always going to say in the name of public safety, oh, it's crime. Oh, it's this. It ain't got nothing to do with that, boys and girls. It is absolutely to protect their own hides. And don't you think for 1 second that's not the reason that they all go for this gun control. But great reporting there on John Crump's part. Always want to share these articles when I can and provide a little bit of context. And this just, again, shows the blatant hypocrisy. These people know absolutely no shame when it comes to their ability to be complete hypocrites when it comes to the Second Amendment. So anyway, yep, that's what's going on. So, the judge will probably throw it out. And I hope he does, because that's going to, paint a good picture for many other people moving forward. I think that the marijuana prohibition on the questionnaire on the 4473 is dumb. I think that the entire 4473 is dumb, right? Because we all know that human nature, you can't regulate and legislate morality. Of course, they want to pretend that they can. They want to pretend they can play God, but at the end of the day, they know they can't do it. Hunter Biden went in and lied on a 4473 just the same, just like many, probably thousands of people would lie on it for any reason. So you can't legislate and regulate morality. And in the situation of Hunter Biden, not even the president's son is morally permissible, to not lie on a form to get his way and to purchase a gun in whatever situation he needs to do it for. So anyway, have yourselves a great day. Many more videos on the way. We'll see you soon.